Affairs editor Leela Jacinto. Leela, great to see you. Before Narendra Modi even touched down, we had sort of an initial green light from India's defense ministry of the purchase of 26 Rafale fighter jets and 3 submarines. So is this visit all about getting those deals done?
It's a big part of it. It's not all of it, but it is really a big part of it. Now, this is an initial approval, and the value of this is around 9 billion euros. So now these Rafale jets are a marine version of the Rafale jets. So they are for the Indian Navy, as is the submarine, because India is looking to upgrade its naval capacity, particularly in the Indo-Pacific region, because it's got a huge regional rival, China, which is extending its influence in the Indo-Pacific. Now, in 2015, India had bought 36 Rafale jets, but this was for the Air Force. Yeah. Exactly. These new Rafales, which are marine versions, are going to be deployed on the INS Vikrant. That's a battleship carrier, an aircraft carrier, which was it's Indian built. And the thing about this is, these big ticket sales, it makes headlines.
Glossy headline, it does.
Exactly. But, underlying the issue is the fact that India is importing all these arms, which means its local manufacturing capacity is not up to the mark of China, its biggest regional rival. And this is very good for France, of course. This is very good for French jobs. India is the world's largest arms importer. France is the world's second largest, it's the third largest arms exporter. India's military arsenal is mostly Russian, and it needs to upgrade it. The war in Ukraine has highlighted this as well, because Russian arms manufacturing is taking a serious beating back with the war in Ukraine. So this is all very good news. It's headline news, very good for France. But at the heart of the matter, Delano, is also what is the message of this? Is bilateral relations all about arms dealing?
I mean, Modi is in town today. Last month, he was over in Washington for a state visit with the Americans. There was pressure on the U.S. President Joe Biden to bring up human rights with Narendra Modi. Does Macron have that same pressure?
Well, initially it was thought that Macron does not have the same pressure. France and India are both historically been committed to multipolarity. So there's a sort of sense that France as a middle power rides on the US and the UK, which is the former colonial powers' coattails. What has been happening this time, when Modi visited the U.S., he, as you said, there were anti-Modi protests. This was quite unusual because the Indian diaspora in the U.S. is by and large pro-Modi government, but it's not the totality of the Indian diaspora. And there is an anti-Modi protest organized in Paris as well. This is unusual. At the heart of the matter is the fact that, in the post-Ukraine war era, most of the global South, as they call themselves, have been neutral on the Ukraine war. And Macron was at the UN General Assembly, where he chastised the so-called neutral countries as being complicit with Russian aggression. And he talked about values and responsibility. But, this exposes the West to hypocrisy, because if you are going to talk about values and then you conduct your foreign policy, which is just as transactional as you claim others are, it gives very little credence to the argument of democracy, because it must be said that under Modi's regime there has been very serious democratic backsliding in India. Even though it's called the world's largest democracy, there are experts that actually call it an electoral autocracy. And this is being questioned in some of the French major newspapers.
Interesting point. Thank you very much for that, Leela. Leela Jacinto there.